disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. So bring it back to this uproar of Donald Trump versus Liz Cheney on whether or not the rhetoric of shooting her down existed, which we all saw the video, we all saw in context. People with actual functioning common sense knowledge understands that Trump did not actually make violent rhetoric threats to Liz Cheney. He just pointed out the fact that she, as a war hawk, which she definitely is, if you look at her background record, she is basically a war witch, as I refer to her, and comparing that to the awful, heinous decisions that Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney have served over their years in politics. And could you imagine if that family went to the front lines of a war that they have created? That was the context of that. That's what I got from it. That's what many of you hopefully got from that when we covered it the last time. But it still continues on. They're still trying to bring this up. They're still trying to make this a talking point conveniently right before people are casting their ballots. And I don't think it's working. They're trying to make it sound like, oh my God, can you vote for someone who makes this violent rhetoric to a war hawk? Turns out, people, yeah, you're talking about a war hawk. You're talking about someone who mass murders people on the regular and calls it a political career stunt and congratulates themselves for it and has not been prosecuted, has not been held to trial. She's also violated a lot of ethics laws when it came to her doing the January 6th committee, which that was just all a made-up scam, the whole January 6th, that's the Fedsurrection. Again, all these different ploys right before the election, trying to stir up this argument of how dare you vote for the game show host that's doing the most damage to America, even though people like Liz Cheney has done the most damage to America. So it got even so bad that even places like The Hill had to even come clean about this. You know, you get the Washington Post, you get the New York Times, that are parroting the same garbage you see all over mainstream media about, oh my God, how dare Donald Trump threaten Liz Cheney with a bunch of barrels pointed at her. But even the Hill had to come forward and say, no, Trump did not threaten Liz Cheney with a firing squad. Because anyone who actually saw the video, which they didn't show the video purposely, they used sound bites purposely to back the deranged argument because they're all Trump deranged psychotic psychopath cult followers. Everyone could see that has nothing to do with the violent rhetoric of Liz Cheney. All it had to do was pointing out the fact that this is a war hawk. This is someone who screams the loudest for war, but never actually got in fights. Never actually seen what war is. And I always found that amazing about people in politics, is that the people that scream the loudest for war, people like Liz Cheney, people like Dick Cheney, people like Lindsey Graham, even celebrities like Sean Penn that want to go to war and talks about, screw it. If we go to nuclear war, screw it. It's for the people of Ukraine. They have never actually fought in war. They have never actually seen the damages of war. And can you imagine those people having to fight the battles that they have created? Imagine those people at the front lines of the wars that they have created. They will not last. They would not last, period. So why in the hell do they have the mindset and the ability and this kind of macho-ness to think that they need to intervene in other countries? Why do they think that they have to do that? Well, it's because they're cowards. It's because they're full-on cowards. They scream the loudest for war, but deep down they are cowards. They're bought little wussy-ass cowards that would never last in war, period. But that doesn't stop people from parroting stupidity like Whoopi Goldberg, unfortunately. Because Whoopi Goldberg, with the amount of assistants and writers at The View, I don't think any one of them bothered to actually look at the original video that Trump made when talking to Tucker Carlson about Liz Cheney. But of course, she's going to repeat the mainstream media garbage because why not on a mainstream media show like The View, a disgusting, just absolute horrendous daytime talk show to make daytime even worse. So here's Whoopi Goldberg bringing on Liz Cheney. They brought her on to The View. And Whoopi Goldberg is about to give her like a tongue bath on just how amazing she is, how dignified she is. and whether or not she'd be under Kamala Harris's wing to be probably the next attorney general. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, let's hear this out.
And so I have a question. Are you also a lawyer?
Yeah. I am.
So you could conceivably be a great AG if this was because
They're cheering for this. Yeah! Isn't that so great? Yay, we get the War Witch. Yay, we can get her into power. Who better to run the Attorney General than a violator of ethics laws? Who better? Who better? She definitely would go well with Kamala Harris, right? They definitely make a pair. Holy crap. I can't believe that. Let's play that again. The fact that the audience is applying to this. The audience. All you have to do is take out your phone, look up Liz Cheney and her background record as how horrendous she is, or her family, for that matter. Look at Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney. It's just absolutely atrocious. It should make you sick. It makes me sick to think about it. And they're both supporting Kamala Harris. What does that tell you? Two hardcore Republicans who should be prosecuted beyond means that people used to scream about. When Dick Cheney was in office, people used to scream about how horrendous this guy was. Now he's supporting Kamala Harris and everyone's okay with it? Everyone's okay with it because George W. Bush is now a Kamala supporter. Yay! Those people should be sent to prison. But nothing will happen because we live in a uniparty oligarchy that only cares about war. They want bloodshed. They want tyranny. They don't care about anyone else. It's absolutely atrocious. But hear this again.
And so I have a question. Are you also a lawyer?
Yeah. I am.
So you could conceivably be a great AG if this was because
and all after that question too. Well, are you a lawyer? Oh, that would make you a perfect AG. Way to talk about bring that bar so damn low. You know, instead of talking about the record of what would she do as a prosecutor, what's her good record? No, not even mention about that. You're a lawyer, right? Okay, let's bring you in. I mean, for God's sakes, we might as well bring in Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons, for God's sakes. And we know how pathetic a lawyer he is. By the way, rest in peace, Phil Hartman. Great voice actor. But let's see the rest of this.
I say this because your moral core is magnificent. Wow. And
her moral core is excellent. From Whoopi goddamn Goldberg. This woman, her moral core is so excellent. Again, I find it, my mind is blown on the fact of how ignorant these people are. How so ignorant or like just the smugnerance, to coin that phrase, smugnerance of these people. Seriously, go look at your phone, type in Liz Cheney, look at all the catastrophic damages that family has done to the country. Her father lied on a national scale, lied to get many troops into harm's way in Afghanistan, in Iraq, all for his own flourishes for working at Halliburton. That was her father. And you're talking about a moral center. You're talking about a moral center of the Cheneys. Holy crap. Holy crap. I'd like to know what Whoopi's opinion then is on Jeffrey Dahmer. I'd like to know what her opinion is on Adolf Hitler. I'd like to know her opinion on the worst people imaginable, Genghis Khan. I'd like to know her opinion on that. You have a great moral center. Why? Because you're anti-Trump. And you're a lawyer, so that makes you excellent for Attorney General. Holy shit. If that's all it takes, holy crap, is America screwed. Not actually finding some sort of record or some sort of policy or any sort of notion to back that argument. Just no, you're attorney and you're against Trump. And because that works for my lizard brain, then all of our lizard brains are going to be happy about it, and we're going to clap like a monkey. Yay! Moral center. The moral core. Oh my god. That is How the hell can you blurt that on daytime television? That's insulting. That to me is insulting. That's insulting to America. That's far worse than what Trump said to this lady. That's far worse than what Trump said. That, oh, she has a moral core, an excellent moral core. Oh my God.
I know you probably don't want it, you don't want to think about it, but I just feel like I would feel a lot better with you leading the FBI, the CIA, the NBC, the LMNT, everybody. That's just me.
I feel a lot better because I know I'm never going to actually fight in a war. I know that I don't care really much about troops overseas. I just feel so much better because me, a billionaire, sitting on the stage that does a daytime show every hour, every weekday, and is just so arrogant to the world, I just feel so much better for myself. Myself, Whoopi Goldberg, with my fake name. Yay! Ah, can't you just feel her excellency? I honestly can't believe this. I feel like I am literally living in a psychotic mental hospital when you hear stuff like this. Like, I feel like I'm in a parallel universe where everything is so backwards that the most criminally insane, the most heinous people are now heroes, apparently, to these people. Like I said, I really like to know what the View's opinion is on Ted Bundy. You know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, Leatherface. I guess he's now a good guy. Maybe he's anti-Trump. Maybe that's it. For God's sakes, Lizzie Borden has a less heinous record than Liz Cheney. Think about that. Lizzie Borden, I would trust better than Liz Cheney. But Whoopi Goldberg, so arrogant, so flustered within her own opinions, up her own ass, is saying she has a more moral. Holy crap. Holy crap. Well, it's so crazy that even Bill Maher had to finally say something about this. Even though it was kind of late in the fact that he said this after his show. So it didn't even make it to air on HBO. He said on Overtime, which is, I guess, the online after-party show, Bill Maher waits till after the show, Overtime, to admit that the Liz Cheney scandal was a bogus lie, orchestrated by the liberal media. Bill Maher had to wait till people were watching him online, the extra portion of it, to finally come clean to say, yeah, this is all made up. And listen to the response that he's going to make
What do you make
to his neoliberal, neocon panel that he has on.
Of the statement? I woke up today to the headline that Trump had called for a firing squad for Liz Cheney. And this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't.
He did
you
not.
You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump.
He says
more
so
than
many
I already,
shitty things. Why do you have to
And
do
by
that?
the way,
Yeah.
if Pete don't realize it, well, here's what he said. He's criticizing him for being a war hawk. Yeah. I mean, she is Dick Cheney's daughter. He said, she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay. Let's see how she feels about it. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, we'll send tens of thousands of troops right into the mouth of the enemy. Now, of course, he expresses himself horribly. He has to add she's a stupid person because he's a moron.
Well, Trump knows what it's really like from Vietnam.
Okay. But, just to be clear.
So, Bill Maher, the most neoliberal scum on HBO, And there's a lot to be said about Bill Maher. Even Bill Maher gets it. Even Bill Maher took a second to realize, hey, that's just bogus crap. That was orchestrated by the mainstream media right before the election to make people deteriorate on the fact that Donald Trump was actually criticizing a war criminal and not openly stating about massacring Liz Cheney. That it was an actual thoughtful statement. A thoughtful statement that people like Bernie Sanders would have probably said, or Tulsi Gabbard, or people on the left should be saying if they weren't encapsulated by this groupthink, by this insidious groupthink, the woke agenda, whatever the crap is going on. If they're not consumed by that, they'd be saying about this. They'd be irritating the fact that the Cheneys, the goddamn Cheneys, are endorsing Kamala Harris. How does that not make you angry? How does that not make you just repulsed by all this? How do you not feel just absolutely betrayed? And the fact that they're not being prosecuted. Barack Obama had every opportunity to prosecute the Cheneys and the Bushes and all the other previous war criminals, but those are in the past. According to Barack Obama, those happened in the past, and we got to focus on the future. Which is so great and concerning because, hey, I guess we can't prosecute criminals for past crimes, so it's good that we're locking up people for stuff they may or may not do in the future. What the hell does that even mean? That's the dumbest argument from a politician. And that was, and Jamie Raskin, who's the guy next to him.
Now, of course, he expresses himself horribly. He has to add, she's a stupid person because he's a moron.
Well, Trump knows what it's really like from Vietnam.
Okay.
So Jamie Raskin, that's the guy next to him. That was the guy you saw earlier talking about how we need to invoke the 14th Amendment to disqualify Trump from even getting inaugurated. Even if he wins the election, we can't get him inaugurated because, God forbid, a game show host, again, being president is such a horrendous thing for the establishment. Jamie Raskin comes up with the scummiest argument to this, to say, well, Trump didn't participate in Vietnam. Yeah, you know why that is? Much like many other people that didn't participate in Vietnam, including Canada, because they knew it was a stupid war. Because they knew it was a fabricated war based on lies. Because they knew how horrendous it was, how the government completely threw those people under the bus that partaked in it. And they knew what awful goddamn... It's 4 presidencies lied about the Vietnam War. And even if Trump came up with a lame excuse of, I had bone spurs or whatever crap that he said at the time. So what? So what? He didn't want to go and massacre a bunch of villages for the corporate estates, for the bloodthirsty cauldron's evil of the military-industrial complex. Much like many other people, much like Canada, when it used to be a peacekeeping nation. I can't say that now because we got so many warhawks in our nation. It's unbelievable how cringeworthy and gut-wrenching it is to witness all this, but their excuse is, oh, well, Trump didn't partake in Vietnam. Like, honestly, shut the hell up. When has Jamie Raskin participated in war? Has Jamie Raskin fought anywhere? No. Has any of these people fought anywhere? God, no. So why don't you just shut the hell up?
But just to be clear, this is exactly what hippies always said. This is exactly what peaceniks always said. This is Fortunate Son, the song. It's like, you know what? It's very easy to sit in your building and send young men to die. Apropos of Ukraine.
Yes.
Because, I don't know, that war doesn't look like it's going in the right direction.
Not at all, no.
But just so, you know, just don't lie to me. I don't like Donald Trump. Don't lie to me and tell me he wants in front of a firing squad. He was saying something that, by the way, if it came out of the mouth, some of it, not the stupid part, again, sounds like what hippies used to say about
Bill,
not sending people to, yes.
I agree with you on the lying. I mean, that is ridiculous and absurd and counterproductive. But when did Donald Trump ever criticize a war hawk? the way a hippie did? I mean, was it during Vietnam? He got out of going to Vietnam, but he didn't criticize
I'm not
the war,
going
or
to
the Iraq
defend,
war.
Jamie,
Yeah.
I'm not defending Trump.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Oh my
don't
God.
lie to me.
I agree with that. I mean, that's just a distortion.
What a load of scum these people are. And even to Bill Maher, like I love that he's making this point. I love that he's making this argument. But Bill Maher's in an industry where you notoriously lie. You notoriously lie. In fact, you have to lie. It's almost a requirement to have any mainstream presence in the industry. If you want to have any sort of notion or respect or a show anywhere in mainstream media, you have to lie. You have to lie. You have to be an anti-Trump liar and a hypocrite and an asshole constantly on camera degrading yourself for this bullshit. And that's why Bill Maher had to wait till after the show, after HBO turned off their cameras and went to his online extra channel to finally make this point on the fact that, yeah, Donald Trump is saying what hippies used to say during the 70s, for God's sake. That's what people at Woodstock would say. You know, these people are saying ivory towers, pointing fingers at countries that we need to invade, sending young men off to sea to slaughter the many just to embellish the few. What does that prove? What does that have to do with anything? War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Like, I can't believe, and this is how propaganda really just is like a disease. This is how propaganda spreads so quickly, so fast, that the people that went against the Iraq invasion in the early 2000s, the people that knew better about Afghanistan, even the people that knew better about Syria, it's amazing that because of how powerful this mind control is, how powerful the groupthink is, that those same people now are pledging and motivated for continuous war in Ukraine, that want to see more genocide in Gaza, that are not calling out these wars, that want to flirt. They want to have war with Taiwan and China. They can't believe that someone like Donald Trump is shaking hands with Kim Jong-un. I couldn't believe it because this is the first time in my lifetime I'd seen any presidential figure willing to do that. I can't believe that it took Donald Trump, a game show host, to finally come to measures, to come to some sort of agreement, some sort of diplomatic matter to North Korea. And regardless of how you feel about the two countries, regardless of how you feel of any country, the point of the matter is the fact that we're willing to a person like Trump is willing to sit down with these people and have negotiations compared to Barack Obama that's already arming tanks across the board, how he turned 2 wars into 7, or Joe Biden that has so many wars he's confused on what he's running. And you got dipshits like Jamie Raskin, because he's so Trump deranged, because he's so a sucker in this mind think, making the stupid argument about, well, Trump didn't partake in Vietnam, so what the hell does he know? Yeah, he didn't go and slaughter millions of people in Vietnam. That to me, you know, regardless of how you feel about that, that's better. That's better than sitting in your ivory towers talking about how you need to invade other countries. Because I know Jamie Raskin's never going to fight in a war. Liz Cheney's never going to fight in a war. Whoopi Goldberg's not going to fight in a war. You saw the thing with the New York Times dipshits. Oh, I'm too old to fight in a war. Well, why do you meddle for younger people to go off and sacrifice themselves? What does it prove? Nothing. Have we not learned anything in the last how many decades? We haven't won a single war since World War II. And that's why Canada didn't partake in Vietnam. That's why Canada didn't partake in the Iraq invasion. We ended up going in Afghanistan because I assume that we folded. We caved. Because so much international pressure from NATO, international pressure from the military-industrial complex that we were warned about in the early 60s, and just how disgusting and deranged the global catastrophic war business really is. How they're using us as sacrifices, how they're using us to manufacture these wars, to kill and slaughter each other for their own flourishes. And the people that defend it the most are the same cowards that would never fight their own battles. That's what Donald Trump was stating. That's what Fortunate Son was about. That's what all the anti-war songs are about. And it's amazing you don't hear any of those today. Funny.